Hello, I am the ocean. This is my place, and this is my home. Basically, you're looking at my home. And here on Deep Woo, we do the deepest woo. Tonight, it's just a simple end of the year party. The moon is dark. No light, and most of the time we do readings. I don't know if I'm going to do readings tonight. At least not with the cards. I might try something entirely new tonight as far as readings, and we'll see how it works. It depends on who shows up because I know we've got a lot of people doing holiday type stuff right now. So, yeah. Yeah, Cowboy is very photogenic little kitty cat. He's been really good about posing for me to do all kinds of stuff with him. I have some more ideas for how to dress Cowboy. Uh, so he's such a sweet little guy. Um, and for those of you who don't know what what I'm talking about, look at the cowboy shorts because we have lots of cowboy shorts, and he's just a cute boy. Um, hello, Hook. Who's the crotchetiest pirate in the world? Off the hook. Off the hook. Hook, I got my new Centro knitting machine. It's driving me up a wall. I wanted this thing. I saw it on a really good sale. It was a 48 pin for less than $30. I think it was like 27 bucks. And I said, here's my chance to have a little knitting machine, a 48 pin knitting machine, because they're kind of expensive. And I haven't been able to get the dang guiding thing to knit anything right. Yeah. I may show you the knitting machine later, but followed the directions, couldn't get it right. Went on YouTube. Um, went on YouTube and found some help, but I still haven't gotten a good knit item out of it. So I'm a little disappointed. I haven't given up on it yet. It's one of those circular knitters, Chloe. Oh, I know. The good ones are expensive. I was a clothing and textile major. No, this one's a toy. Although, I gotta say, people have gotten some really good results with this one. People have done some wonderful things with the Centro. Um, if you look it up, that some people have been getting very nice results with it. Very good, have been making some really nice projects with it. But first, I got to get the dang thing to work to make a solid stitch all the way. It keeps dropping lots of stitches and Crystal uses an electric drill. An electric drill? Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, once you get them working, I guess they can go real well. They can do some good stuff. I mean, I've seen people do rib knit. I've seen people do Um, it can do both round knitting, and then it can also make sections. I've seen people show you how to increase and decrease stitches on it. So, yeah, it's got a lot of potential, but it is still plastic, unfortunately. Problem is, it's plastic. So, oh, she did. Okay. Yeah, I think once I figure out the secret of getting mine to work at all, I think that it will be interesting. Uh, oh, geez, why am I yawning so much? And fun to do. It just looks like so much fun, but so far it's been just kind of a hassle to get it to work right. And the first thing they did was the very first thing they did in the instructions was to tell you to do it wrong, tell you exactly how to do it the wrong way, to make sure the yarn goes into every hook, and that's wrong. As I looked it up, and I had to go through several videos, a lot of videos, to find somebody who tell you how to cast on properly, which is every other hook, not every hook in the beginning. And I don't know why, but that is the only way to get it to work. So I did that, and I sort of got some results, but still it was skipping stitches. So I was like, dang, this ain't fun. So I'm gonna have to see what I can do about it. I'm not done yet. Oh, I know. Well, it was a clothing and textiles major, among other things. It was one of my majors. Clothing and textiles with communication option. So, yeah. Um, well, that's why I got the $27 Centro is because and me not gonna do the $800 model. I'm not gonna be able to do that. Yeah. China has hacked our treasury. Oh, geez. Well, an act of war. What, really? Did that happen? Did that actually happen? Or are they saying it happened? Or is this under the table stuff? Just in time for the inauguration. Oh, I know. Anything to keep that inauguration from happening. Oh, jeez. Do you believe it? Do you believe that it's real? Or do you believe that it's bullshit? Do you believe it's an FF? Oh, it's on CNN. So it's probably totally a lie. It probably totally an FF. It's on CNN, which is the propaganda network. You know what I call CNN? Clearly not news. Clearly not news channel. That's CNN. Of course. You know, he is so greasy and really actually, it's probably not even really him. It's the people who are the puppeteers. At this point, I think he's a total puppet. I don't think he's doing much of anything really. He's doing some spiteful stuff, but is it really even him? I mean, he's going off for vacation. What is he really going to be doing again? Another vacation. We don't know that it's really a vacation, though. We all suspect that it's not really a vacation, right? Maybe he's vacated already. And, weekend at Bernie's ensues again. We don't even know. It's abomination. Oh, Obamana. Communist Communities News. Yeah. See. Or maybe certainly not news is just being too nice. How about crappy, nasty news? They will though. I think everybody will make a deal with Trump in the end. I think everybody will in the end. But there's going to be some shit along the way. And, well, going to be lots of drama to play out. Try not to get involved in any drama, folks. It's not going to be worth it. We're going to have our share of other stuff too. There's going to be. Oh, I saw something, Dr. Greer. It came on, and it's once again, he said, same doggone thing that I said, though, pretty much, is that there are some real UFOs, UAPs, whatever you want to call them. There's some real ships that are making themselves that are not bothering to cloak. They're just not bothering to cloak. There's some real ones, and then there are the false ones, the things that are just put up there to confuse the issue. And it's just heard him talk about it, and it's just almost exactly what I thought. The way that he was describing what he knew from whistleblowers, it almost exactly what I thought. What I was thinking. As a matter of fact, it is exactly what I was thinking. So, we got that to deal with, is that bullshit. That's one thing that's, yeah, they're going to try and have some kind of conflict. We got to postpone that inauguration. With or without an inauguration, people are going to demand that Trump be president. I don't think we're going to stand for the bullshit. If they try to bullshit it, we're not gonna do it. People are not going to stand for it. They've had it up past the teeth, up past the eyes. Just they've had it. Hey, Pam, I am. How you doing? Yeah, there's just too much drama. Don't get involved with it. Get ready to freeze my ass off. Ah, oh dear. Yeah. How you doing, Pam? hmm I don't like freezing either. Oh no. Oh, Chloe, we have to get you some stuff to. Chloe, you don't have a space heater or anything? You've got electric, don't you? Hey, kitty. Yeah, come to Vegas. That's a lot warmer, huh? Um, if you have candles, you can make a space heater, Chloe. If you have candles, you can put a ceramic, some kind of ceramic bowl or flower pot. You know, you can prop it up and have it be a warmer. There's a way to do it where you can have it be a warmer. I have candles in case of that too. I got them all over the place. Uh, it will. it will help heat up a place. It won't. Some people say they do a lot better than you think they do. A candle heater, or you can use alcohol. You can get an alcohol heater. For you can get like a can of Sterno and make a heater out of it. You can. There's all sorts of ways you can heat your place. Yeah, there. Pam said it. Cinder blocks and ceramic pot and a candle. Nah, you put them up on cinder blocks or something. You don't. You don't make it so they can get in there. How you doing, kitty? Yeah, that's true too. You can do that too. Make yourself. You know what I did when the heat went off in my apartment, because the heat did go off in my apartment. One time when I was at the other apartment, and let me tell you, all you think about when it's that cold is how do I stay warm? That's all that's on your mind. You need cinder blocks, bricks, tiles, something fireproof. Cinder blocks aren't that expensive, Chloe. Cinder blocks, tiles. I have tiles. I got tiles cheap from like a rehab place, a house rehab place. I can get tiles real cheap from there. You can also sometimes get heaters very cheap at the secondhand stores. But really, cinder blocks, okay. Then you need candles or alcohol. Uh, alcohol burner. But alcohol burner isn't hard to make. You can even make an alcohol burner out of a tin can. And there's all kinds of YouTube videos about that because there are a lot of people having that problem. But then you have to set it up so the cat and dog cannot get into it, cannot get there. You know, just set it up so that they cannot fuck with it. It can do it. You can do it. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Don't. Hmm. Some of the setups are very small. Do you have what they used to call hurricane lanterns? You know, I would search YouTube because honest to God, there's got to be somebody who's figured this out. Because there's enough people with this problem, especially over in Europe, they're freezing their asses off because of what their government's been doing. There's enough people with this going on that there has got to be people who has got it all figured out, Chloe. And they can, and they're probably putting out videos because people do that. Exactly what you need to do in order to survive it. I'm sure that there is. I'm sure that they've got videos on what you can do. But one of the easy ones that I saw is yeah, it's just involved like a candle or even a lard heater like a Crisco. They had you put a wick in a Crisco can and then you light that. There's things. Yeah. There'll be a way to do it. There'll be a way to do it. There's a way to do damn near anything if you have to. I found that out. If you have to stay warm, you're going to find a way to stay warm. And the bit about having making yourself a fort to warm yourself up in, that is a good idea too. Making yourself cozying up your place so that it's nice and warm and you keep the heat in. Yeah. The hole in your floor, you got to make sure that's covered. Yeah, Crisco heater. You can stick a wick in Crisco and it'll burn for a long time. If you stick a wick in a Crisco can. Oh yeah. And then you can put like pottery or something like that over it in order to keep the animals away from it, not the open flame. Because when they go near the heat, they're going to not want to get burned. So when they touch it, it's going to be too hot and they're not going to play with it. Yeah, I have tea candles. I have a bunch of tea candles. Oh, yeah. Don't leave blankets on it. Absolutely don't. Yeah. Cupcake pan. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've seen the cupcake pan thing. You want your pets to be safe. Yeah, I bought at the Marks, at the nearby Marks. They had a sale on they got well, it's an overstock place. And they had pretty cheap 100 tea light candles. I got about 3 or 4 packs of those. So I got several hundred tea lights. And they may be small and they don't last very long, but if you get several of them going, they can generate some heat. I don't know, newspaper's combustible though. Yeah, you just need something that the cat and the dog aren't gonna get into trouble with. There's a way to do it. There's gonna be a way to do that. I know how I'd do it with Cowboy, but he's not bad for climbing. He's not really bad for climbing, so I don't have any worries with him. I'm so blessed. He is not a climber. Yeah. Also, there are things you can buy pretty cheap that are heaters for like your mittens and back pads and stuff that are like little chemical heating pads that there's also, if you have an oven, you can make a rice. You can put rice in a sock or a bag or, something like that and heat it up in the oven, get it nice and warm and put it on you and use it for a heating pad. People have done that too. I've done that before. And you can put it wherever you need to put it or put rice in the sock and heat it up. There's videos about that too, about all that stuff. Hmm. Yeah, don't wait until it happens. Start keeping your place warm before that so that it's not a sudden thing. But yeah, there's ways to do everything. And there's somebody out there in YouTube land that has figured out how to do it all. They have. So probably can tell you better than we can even. Um, but don't freeze to death. It really makes life a lot harder if you're freezing. Gosh, when the heat went off in my department and my apartment, the kitty and I would huddle up under a blanket tent. We had our blanket tent on the bed. So we'd get it all nice and warm, and then I didn't want to leave. I'd take me a jug of water in there, and me and the kitty would drink our water, and we'd run out, we'd eat something, and then we'd run back into our, and you can't get much done because all you're doing is trying to keep warm. You can't get very much done. But at least if you got a dog and a cat, they're also able to huddle with you. Yeah, that's right. Well, holy ghost, what the heck? Chloe, I don't know what to tell you, honey. I would love to help you, but I'm all the way over here. I could definitely help you. Doggone. If it was easier to send you things, I have tons of things I could send you that'd help you. I just know it would. Warm clothes. I've got spare comforters. Damn it, how do I get them to you, though? It's so expensive to ship anything now. Gosh, it just frustrates the heck out of me when I can't help somebody, and I know I have the resources on the one hand to help. There's gotta be a way. You don't have water? Wait a minute, you don't have water there? What are you living in a tent? Oh, you're living in a wait. Where the heck are you living, Chloe? I mean, what are you living in? A travel trailer. See, this is what I'm saying. We need that village, folks. We need that echo village. We need to stop this craziness. People shouldn't, it shouldn't be like this. We shouldn't have these problems. There's all kinds of ways to take care of this sort of thing. There's all kinds of ways to do things and just you need a tiny home, maybe. What you need is maybe one of the modern tiny homes. Because they're, if you got the land to put it on, a tiny home can be really nice and they're cheap. And you know what? We might be able to get somebody to donate one to you. Because there are people who do that. Oh, busted water line. Good Lord. We have got to save Chloe. Yeah. Okay, well, that's good to know. God. You know, you'd even be better off having a nice yurt. And yurts are not that bad to put up. They're actually really easy to put up and they're not that expensive. You could probably have a nicer yurt and a more spacious one then. It'd probably be way more spacious and convenient than what you've got. Okay. Yeah, I'd see if I could get hold of a yurt. Yurts are much more efficient at heating and cooling and everything. They're just a much better place to live. And they can be outfitted with all kinds of conveniences. So, yeah. Well, that's good to know that you're not going to be left out in the cold to die. That's good. I'm glad to hear that they're not going to just make you stay out in the cold and die. Well, there you go, Chloe. You just forgot to die. You just didn't die. No, you didn't forget. I know how it is. I've had some very hinky living situations in my life. And hinky is just not the least of it. It's just a mild word. Here, I'll put on some healing music. I want it to be. Now, you know what? With the technology that we have, we don't need for anybody to be suffering. Nobody should be suffering. Nobody should be suffering. Celebrity ghost stories right now. Yeah. Is that a particular channel? I've told some celebrity ghost stories. Told you about Janice. Janice used to haunt me all the time when I was playing music. She was around all the time. And I swear every time I sing one of her songs, she's around. Hmm. What program? Or is it just called that? I can't click on the link because if I click on the link, I'll stop the stream. I'll screw up the stream. I won't be able to get back in. So basically I'm just thinking I wanted to see you guys before the end of the year and make sure everyone was okay. Make sure that you remember to intend like the wind. Remember, new moons are very good for setting intentions. So it's good to get your candles and light them and make sure it's not a really big candle and light your candles with intention. And as the candle burns down, meditate on what you want to intend for the next year. I should go more into, you know what? That's something I really feel like I need to put something out about how to do candle magic because it's very easy and almost anybody can do it. Ghost stories calm you down. That's funny. Actually, the funny thing is that I'm haunted pretty much. I'm being a medium. I'm pretty much haunted every day of my life, but it's not scary. But I am literally, haunted. There are spirits around me and I can see them, I can talk to them, I can feel them pretty much every single day of my life. And that's what it's like to be a medium is you are never really alone. There's always somebody around, which is kind of weird in a way. You know what? I remember one time I was sitting in my chair. I had fallen asleep in my easy chair here. And I had eaten just a little piece of a gummy. And I woke up, and sometimes the gummies will actually help me get in touch with the other world. And honestly, I was, I probably got to be careful how I say this. There was a party going on. Apparently, in the other world, I got a club, and there's a party going on all the time there. So, yeah, very interesting. Yeah, I got ghosts all over the place. There's nothing new about it. This is the first place that isn't really haunted, like with somebody else's ghost running around, not too much. I mean, these are just my people that I know, my acquaintances from and friends and loved ones from the other side. This is the first time I've been in a place that isn't really haunted like that, with somebody else's ghost. Um, a bunch of strangers. But, it's very comforting. And it's very comforting to know that even in my dreams, I'm still armed and dangerous. If something nasty, if something nasty comes in, I'm very dangerous to that creature, whatever it may be. So, in the etheric and astral realms, I kick ass. So you creep up on me, you're you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna probably become an un. Maybe. Yeah, the land spirits. Spirits of the land. Ah, mhm, yeah. We got some land spirits here too. I did tell you, right, that the mycelium got in touch with me. The spirit of mycelium got in touch with me and told me that we're going to get help from the mycelium, that they're prepared to help us and able, they're ready and able and willing to help us repair and restore everything. So eat your mushrooms. Take your mushrooms. Take your functional mushrooms. The mycelium are going to help us repair everything. Oh, well, that's good, kitty. Well, yeah, sometimes you want to make friends. There are things that you can make friends with. Hey, Andrea, Hector, how you doing? Ah, it's nice to see you, honey. You came more towards the beginning than the end. That's good to see. I've been on for an hour, but fortunately, you made it in. So good to see you. Yeah, I would have to say that there's so many beings that live with us that we don't even realize live with us. And to some people, that's scary. And oddly to me, it's kind of comforting, you know? So I don't know why, but for some reason, it just seems, I don't know, it's just kind of comforting that I'm not really alone. I mean, I don't have family to celebrate with. I gotta admit, I'm a little bit, it got me a little bit that there's no family around the holidays. I used to get terrible holiday depression, and sometimes I still have a twinge of that where I kind of wish I had somebody to celebrate holidays with. But everybody's, doing stuff with their family. It's a family time, and not having a family means you don't really have very much to do. But I made a nice meal and had some nice turkey, me and Cowboy. And I think I told you, I don't know if I told you, but I went to the party that they had here at the complex, in the building, and I got treated a lot better since Trump got elected. And the stuff about Joe has come out. A lot of people who hated my guts and thought I was crazy. Well, they're kind of thinking differently now. They're being a lot nicer to me now because, it's kind of obvious I was right again. And I'm right most of the time. I'd say at least 99% of the time I'm right about all of this stuff. So people just gotta get with the picture, get with the program. Ah, yeah, Bella. Yeah, that's sad. Oh, Shadow, your baby. Mhm. That's another thing too. I run into that too, where things that just disappear all day, and then they come back at some point. Your your black lab passed away. That's sad, Andrea. I'm sorry to hear that. Your baby. It's like losing a kid or something. Ah, that would be nice. I would love to do that. When I had a home and I was married, I invited single people over to, you know, holiday stuff. You know what? I almost had that situation. There was somebody had me watch their cat Tony for a few days, and it turned out to be a year. But then it was really nasty. It turned out to be over a year. I figured he was my cat. She came back to get him, and she had a kid with her. And normally I wouldn't be giving him back. I'd be like, "Hey, it's been over a year. We've bonded. He's my cat." But the kid was there, and I just couldn't turn down the kid. I could not disappoint the child. So I had to give him back. But it was really, that was hard. Yeah. Yeah. When I first got to my apartment after being homeless, I got into an apartment and couch surfing at everybody else's place for about 6, 7 months. I finally got an apartment and I had the craziest dream in that apartment. I dreamed that I couldn't quite wake up while this party was going on in my apartment. There was this big party, and I couldn't quite wake up to join in the party. And I was just too tired, right? I was exhausted. But there was this big party. And then I finally did wake up. And for just a few seconds, it looked like the whole place was painted in Technicolor day glow all over the place. And right in front of my eyes was a sign written that said Happy Halloween. And I knew that that had been the Fae playing a little trick on me because I read, what? Happy Halloween? What? And then it just disappeared. It just was gone poof. And I was back in the regular apartment. So, in some dimension, they had totally graffitied that apartment over in day glow colors. And the Fae were just welcoming me, which was very sweet of them. Your key stuff, huh? Yeah, there's a few things that we humans really need. But if you move other little things around, do other little things, that's okay, right? Yeah. And Yolana will mention it. She says, we just laid that down. And it's like, yeah, I know. It'll be back. It's okay. It'll be back at some point. And sure enough, at some point, it comes back. So, usually not anything too important. But right now, I'm kind of pissed because one of the things is my remote for my vibrating platform. I'd really love to have that back. Peaches is your lookout. Mhm. Yes, they do. They really do. And David has a sense of humor too, and so he does things. He does things. And I'm like, David. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes they do that. Yeah, and the spirits will leave you things too, and that's called an import. I have had them leave me things, so that's sweet. It's, you know, certainly not a problem unless you make it a problem, right? I mean, it's something you can work with. If you don't make it a problem, it's not really a problem. Yeah, David is uh, long gone. Look, well, gone, but still here. He visits. Yeah, David passed years ago. Oh, yeah, not being able to find your keys is really bad. And for me, not being able to find my glasses. Oh, yeah, when you hear me talk about interactions with David, it's from the other world. It literally is a ghost story. When you hear me talk about my interactions with David, it's a ghost story. Mhm. Yeah, David used to visit me at places I'd go and just mess with me while I was around other people, and then I'd have to pretend nothing was happening. You know how that is. I'd have to pretend that everything was fine. He has a heck of a sense of humor. David is really actually, nobody realized how funny he was or is. How funny he actually is. He's got a great sense of humor. And of course, he would have to be because he's my other. Have to have a sense of humor, or what would you be doing around me, hanging around with me? Uh, Hook, I'm going to say this, but I think Chloe or somebody will tell you. His name was David Jones in real life, but he had another name. But his real name was David Jones. And so I would call him Mr. Jones sometimes. Me and Mr. Jones, we had a thing going on. Me and Mr. Jones, we got a thing going on. We knew it was wrong, but it was too strong to let it go. We'd meet every day at the cyber cafe. Oh my goodness. If I ever write that song. That's an interesting date. Oh dear. You're talking about your baby shadow. Aw, that's terrible. Mr. Jones strikes up a conversation. Yeah, with a black kid from Mango dancing, dances what? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mr. Jones and me. Vanilla got run over. Oh dear. My poor Kangy he was a blue cat. Kangy got a bladder infection and died of that. Could not save him. Well, Kangy was with me every day. There wasn't one day after he died that I didn't think about him. That's another ghost story if you want me to tell. Do you guys want me to tell that ghost story of my cat, Kangy? You looking for something to believe? Well, Kangy was such a sweet. I had asked for a blue kitty next, but I wanted a Siamese too, and I couldn't decide whether I wanted a Siamese or a blue kitty. But one day I was going, one day I ran into somebody who was giving away kittens. And what do you know? It was the product of a Siamese and a blue cat, and he was blue. He was a blue kitty. I'm like a Siamese blue. Oh my gosh. He must be my cat, right? And he was such a baby. He was so sweet. And he became my little baby cat. And I got him originally as a boy toy for my girl cat so she wouldn't be lonely. And boy, they got on real well, so well that they would disappear at times and just be I would accidentally come in on them and uh, yeah. So they had some wonderful times together. That's no how I know the cats do it face to face. Yeah, not like dogs. Doggy style is something different. Kitty style is face to face, front to front. So interesting. So He was such a sweet boy, but the time came when, my friend was saying, you got to get him fixed or they're going to start having Maui's going to come up pregnant. You're going to have a bunch of kittens. What are you going to do with all the kittens? And I wasn't in a situation where I could handle that. So I got some help with it and I got him fixed. And I'm really sorry I did because that was bad. I'm pretty sure that's what led up to him getting sick. I'm pretty sure that's why he got sick because that can happen with male cats. It was heartbreaking. It was really heartbreaking. And I remember I took him to the vet and I didn't have a car. I had to get a ride from somebody who was actually acting kind of mean about it. I had to pay her. She was rough with him. I mean, she took him from my hand and said, put him, I wanted to sit with him. I wanted to pet him while he was in his pet carrier. She wanted me to leave him alone. She said, put him in the back seat. And she just kind of very heartily threw him in the back seat. And I said, don't do that. He's sick. And so I got in the back seat with him. She says, no, you got to ride up here in front. I said, I want to be with him. He's my baby. And she just wouldn't get it. She just didn't get it. So anyway, I had to pay her. But the poor baby took him to the vet and he said, well, we're going to keep him overnight. I'm going to drain him. We're going to keep him overnight and see if he does any better. And I'm going to send him home. If he doesn't do any better, I'm going to send him home with some shots. But if he doesn't do better, you're going to have to bring him back. And I said, okay. So he wasn't doing any better. That was the last night. I got some last purrs out of him. I miss him so much. I missed him so much. But I took him back to the vet and I dropped him off and I said, please, King, you don't die. I'll get some money together and we'll make sure that you're okay. And somehow I'll get the money together for your operation. But I think the vet knew I didn't really have the money. So when I got home, I was very surprised because there he was sitting on my bed. And I'm like, Kangi, is that you? And he got up off the bed and he turned into a cat person. And he said, yeah. And I said, oh no, that means. He said, yeah, I died. He said, oh my God, I knew it. I just knew it. He said, it's okay. He said, I just came back because I wanted you to know that you didn't do anything wrong. You took good care of me. It's like you did everything you could for me. I don't want you to feel bad. I know you. You're going to feel bad about it. And I said, wow, you're person sized. He said, yeah, that's so I can hug you because I couldn't really hug you right before. And you always hugged me. And I loved that. So I could hug him now because he was a person, he was person shaped with a cat, but looking like a cat. He was a cat person. And so I got to hug him. And he said, I always wanted to do that. It was just so surreal. And I said, "So you're you're a person?" He says, "Yeah, I was a guy before." I said, "You were?" And he said, "Yeah, I was a guy." That's the way he talked. It was interesting. I was a guy. So you were like a man. And I said, are you going to be my cat again?" And he said, "I think I'll be a guy again. I think I want to be a guy again." And then he proceeded to tell me all kinds of things about myself. He was telling me how beautiful I looked. He was telling me how beautiful I looked, particularly when I was sleeping. I would often find him watching me, looking at me when I would wake up. He would be staring at me right there by me, staring into my face. He told me how he thought I was beautiful when I was sleeping. My face was so kind. He said that I was just the kind of person he wanted. He said, I always, this is what happens. See, the reason I came as a cat, is because I saw the way women loved their cats. And I always wanted to be loved like that because women just really love their cats. And I never felt loved like that. So I wondered what it was like to be loved like women love their cats. So I decided to be a cat. I said, "Oh, okay. Wow, I'm thinking, wow, that's informative too." And I said, "Well, I did love you as best I could." He says, "Oh, I know. You were perfect. You were just what I wanted. You were everything I wanted for this experience. And I'm so glad that I had you." And he was so sweet. I said, "Well, am I going to see you again?" And he says, "Oh, you'll see me from time to time." Yeah, but I just wanted you to know. He said, "I just had to let you know." Sure enough, when I called the vet, he said, "You gotta come get him. You can come get him or we can dispose of him." So I got him. There was another whole, I don't want to go too much into beyond that, but trying to get him buried. Oh, jeez. But he just he just was so sweet and coming back to tell me because he knew that I'd feel guilty and like I could have done should have done something more. It was so sweet of him. But then I realized something as I was listening to somebody else describe their encounters with a cat person and what the cat person told them. And this is what, and I think this was a message. I think I heard this on purpose. He was channeling a cat person, and the interviewer said, uh, "So, what do you do when you fall in love with a girl? Do you fall in love on your planet?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, we sure do. We fall in love." And he said, "Well, what do you do? Do you give her flowers? Do you give her a ring? What do you do?" And he said, we tell her how beautiful she is and how much we love her. And we tell her what we think are her best attributes, and why we care about her so much. And the guy goes, "That's it? That's what you do?" He says, "Yeah, that's what we do." And I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, he fell in love with me. He fell in love with me." That's what I was feeling. And that's why he wanted to be a guy again. He wanted to be a cat to find out what it was like to be loved the way that women love their cats. But then he wanted to be a guy again once he knew what love was like. How interesting. How informative. I never knew that. I really was quite flabbergasted by the whole thing. But, you know, it kind of makes sense. So Kangi is actually somewhere being a guy, I guess. And from time to time, I kind of get the feeling that he's around, although I don't see him. So that's my cat, Kangi. He's a sweet guy. So that was years ago. Happy New Year. Yeah. Are you taking off? Hi, Elderberry. If somebody's taking off, love you. Um, yeah. So that little guy fell in love with me. He was around. I could feel his presence with me every day for a long, long time. He hung around and visited. I just knew it. He was there. I didn't feel like he was really gone. And yet, it was like I would see glimpses of him everywhere, just out of the corner of my eye. So, what a sweet little guy. I miss him. Yeah, I gotta say, I miss him. And then Maui, she went on alone for a few years. And Maui, when she passed, she didn't just pass away, she ascended. I literally got to see her ascend. Literally. I got to see her turn into rainbow body and everything. That's a whole nother story. So, my cats, I've come to the conclusion my cats were not actually cats, not the way that we think of animals. My cats were not just cats, let's put it that way. Maui, later on, I was to find out that somehow I always called her little girl, my daughter, that in another dimension, she is my daughter. So you never know. Your relatives may be visiting you in pet form because they don't want to be around a long time. They don't want a, commitment like a human lifetime, right? I mean, pets live a lot shorter lives, so they're in and out faster. And you got to remember that the time is entirely different there than it is here. And so that was friends and family. I think a lot of times our pets are friends and family that come in to protect us and help us and teach us, and they come in as pets, as our pets, because they're not really here to live a long human life. I know that's really weird to think of, but we get to choose what we're going to be, but we base it on the lessons we want to learn in life and the things we want to experience. At least that's how I understand it. So, even as foreign as it was, I didn't like having to come in as a female, but I did. And I figured, well, I came here to learn whatever it was like to be a female at this time. Um, but, people don't want to hear that kind of thing because then it takes away all of their bit about, I was born in the wrong body. Didn't ask to be here. Yeah, you did. Actually, you did. You had a reason for coming here, or you thought you did. You thought it was important enough to get born here. And moreover, you choose your parents, you choose your family, and you have different reasons for choosing your family. You think that they're going to be able to show you the lessons that you want to learn, that you're going to learn what you need to learn from them, whatever that is in this life. This is why almost all of us have codependent parents, is because with that codependent family type thing comes certain other things. And one of them is we usually end up being empaths. A lot of times, I mean, there can be many reasons, but a lot of times it unlocks some of our superpowers. So, and there's a whole rabbit hole to go down with that. You can agree, disagree, whatever, feel however you feel about it. This is my experience. So, just giving you the benefit of my experience. So, I accepted a long time ago that I came here as a woman for a reason, and there must be something about it that I needed to be a woman. So, but yeah, I wasn't really happy with being a woman when I got here. You know the thing about Kangi? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Vanilla might have been a special too. Yeah. So he had a special way. He was just so different from any other cat. He had a special way. He would sit on my chest, or if I would hold him in my arms, he would put his paw up and he would very gently cup my cheek in his paw and stare into my eyes. And he would do that for like several minutes. He would just cup my cheek and stare into my eyes. It was so odd the way he would reach his little paw up and just wrap it around my cheek and grab my cheekbone, put his claws out just enough to grab my cheek just so that I could feel him, but never to hurt me, never to hurt me, and just stare into my eyes and want love. He wanted love all the time. And do you know that when he died, after he died, There was a point where Maui came and she never did this, and she got up on my chest and she reached her paw down and cupped my face exactly the way Kangi did. And I said, Kangi. And she looked into my eyes, and then it broke and she moved and she left again. She went by my side. But that was Kangi again. That special way he held my face and stared at me. So I could tell it really was him. He was still around. And Maui, when she died, she was so sick. She was so sick. I was begging my guides for help. I didn't have enough money to put her down, and I felt so sorry for her. And I kept asking them, please grant her grace. I don't want her to suffer. I really don't want her to suffer. She doesn't deserve that. She's been such a good cat. I don't know. I can't tell this story. It's too emotional. I'll tell it another night, maybe. It's too emotional. But Maui was special too. She wasn't just anybody. And she literally ascended, and I literally saw her rise up out of her body and walk through a rainbow portal into a beautiful place. She pulled her little sick body up to be at my feet. She put herself in Sphinx position, then she rose up out of her body and walked through the portal. The room was filled with rainbows and white light, flashes of white light, and the portal opened and she walked through it. And then she was in the other place. And I was sad, but I was also glad to see that she'd made it. She'd made it to a wonderful place. And I congratulated her. I said, Maui, way to go. It looks like a beautiful place. Well, later I had a dream of a girl with golden eyes who was my daughter, but it was Maui. Anyway, oh, also after Maui died, I saw her as a white. That's a whole, gosh, I got to get, someday I'll tell you that story. But it turns out that she was a white cat person. And you know, they can also turn into people, they can shapeshift into people. So I got to see how she looked as a girl, as a woman, and also how she looked as a cat person. So she was a beautiful, majestic white cat. So, which is known as an elder lyran. So she really was a lyran. And she really was an elder lyran. So when I told people she was my lyran assistant, I wasn't lying. She really was. And when I tell you the cowboy is, he's also got to be a relative of some kind, the way that he is. He's up by my face. He's got his feet on my shoulder. He's always like wants to look at me. He's quite often faces me and just kind of stares at me while I'm, he has his place in my bed right beside my pillow that he curls up, and he looks over my shoulder at what I'm watching, and I can tell that he's also a relative. He's got to be. He's got to be. So, but of course, and they've told me this before, that when they're in cat form here as cats and dogs, they have instincts, and the instincts kind of drive them a little nuts sometimes. I had a friend who was a communicator, an animal communicator, and she did a full run on what Maui was telling her. And I mean, she said all kinds of things. Had all kinds of information coming from Maui. And so I have a lot to say about animals and pets and what they're doing here. Usually they are beings that are close pets. Usually they're beings that are like our friends or relatives that are only here for a short time. Uh, isn't that amazing? And sometimes it's amazing how the cat distribution system works, right? Hmm. Yeah, Maui, I have a picture of her and me. I'm in the mirror. I could tell she wasn't feeling very well, and I took a picture of her. She asked me, I said, Maui, you're not feeling very good, are you, girl? She's like, no, Ma, I'm sick. I'm not feeling good. I really want to go home. And I have a picture of her and me when I told her, Maui, I love you so much. I'm going to miss you. It's going to kill me. But, it's going to half kill me. It's going to break my heart. But if you feel like you got to go home, you go home. I don't want you to hurt anymore. I don't want you to suffer. I want you to be happy. And if that's what's going to make you happy, you go home. I wasn't going to tell the story, but I guess I am. Since you guys are talking about all this stuff, it was the hardest thing, but I loved her. What could I say? Then I got a picture of her, and I'm in the mirror. I just ended up, my face was in the mirror beside her. So it's a picture of both of us, the only picture of both of us that I have, of the moment that I told her and how happy she looked, how relieved she looked. But then it was a hard death. I was shocked. I don't even want to go into it. It was hard. And there was something or other, I don't know what it was. There was something that she took away from me, and that's what she died of, but she wanted to do it. She looked at me. I remember she looked at me, and this was when I got another picture of her. And when I when I looked at her the way she was posed, all I could see, she was shaped like a heart. Her whole body was kind of shaped like a heart, so I made a Valentine's Day card out of it. She said, "Mom, I would take anything for you." And I said, "But I don't want you. I don't want you to be sick." She says, "I would take anything for you." They love us that much. They love us so much. And they will really break your heart. And we brave pet owners, we do it over and over again, don't we? Knowing that our hearts will be broken one day. Knowing that one day we're going to have to let go and our hearts will break. Yeah. But still, we're brave enough to find another love, a little thing to love, another creature to love that's actually one of our friends or family, and we love them again, and we get our heart broken again. But it's okay because somehow, knowing what I know, it helps because I know that they go on and that they still love us. They're not really gone. They're not really that far away. They still care. So if you had a pet that was very special to you like that, I can almost guarantee that it was somebody special to you on the other side, looking out for you, taking care of you, trying to help you, trying to give you a chance to have some lessons. And tough it is as it is to let them go, they're going home. Where it's much easier. It's a much better existence. It's a rough planet right now. It's going to get better, but it's a rough planet, right? It's been pretty rough living here. This is just a planet of extremes. Yeah, I'm crying a little bit now. It's very hard to think back on these times without crying. Wow, Hook. Who's Jolene? Yeah, Maui, and I didn't realize this, but Maui was actually the first cat that I ever knew that I didn't remember even, but the first cat my mother had and used to watch me as a baby, used to watch over me as a baby and let my mom know if I was cranky or crying or needed a change or and a very loving cat and defended me against a spider getting in my crib and had killed a spider. My mother was wondering why she was in my crib because she'd never come in my crib, but she had killed a spider that could have hurt me. And that's what she was doing. And she was actually my first cat, too. So, isn't that something? Yeah, they can come back. Well, you know what, Hook? It ain't gonna work. Whatever they got in mind, it ain't gonna work. Wasn't that Japan? Hook, that was Japan. China has got other issues. But I got a feeling Xi Jinping isn't long for this world. He's not well. I saw him. He's not well. Did you know he was crying and begging his people to have children after all these years of genociding their own people? He's crying and telling his people they need to have children. How ridiculous. How absolutely ironic and weird. And now you decide people should have children. Now you see the folly of your ways. Now you call off the genocide of your people. He has a lot to answer for. But you know what? I don't think he's well. And I think his time is just about over. Yeah. China's got other issues, unfortunately. Genociding your own people like they're trying to do to us. Everywhere that they're telling you that they're trying to get you to not have kids and that's an evil agenda because honestly there is no shortage of land. There is no shortage of food. There is no shortage of anything except that's created. The earth could easily support, and she has told me this, Mother Earth herself has said she could easily support 3 times as many people as we have now. And she has done so. She says there were times when she's had 3 times as many people. And I've seen it. There are times when this place was much more populated. So anybody who's trying to tell you that underpopulate that about the population bomb and all that bullshit that they started back in the was it the 60s? It's propaganda and it's evil and it comes from a dark plan. It's part of the dark plan to to weaken us. And I bought into it. I didn't want to have a kid because I didn't want to add to the problem. I didn't want to bring them into this kind of world. And you know what? That was actually prophesied in the Bible. And they couldn't, back at that time, they just couldn't imagine it, that there'd actually come a time when women wouldn't want to have children, wouldn't want to bring children into the world. But we're there. And I was one of them. I couldn't imagine bringing a child into the world that I was in. I couldn't imagine it. Then my heart would really be broken. Yeah, it's been a plan to depopulate us all this time. And people bought it. Back when we still trusted what we were told, that's not going to happen again. Not with me. I sure don't trust what I'm told anymore. And if you do, why? Everything they told us was bullshit. And it was part of the agenda. We can't trust a damn thing that we were told, like ever. They're full of shit, okay? How about we intend right now? Look, I've already proven to myself that I can intend things and that, you know what? I intended something to go away that I've had. Let's see, what age would I have been when I got it? I would have been maybe 18, 19, 20, something like that, maybe 19, 18. When I got this little growth on the corner of my eye, right? And like a little skin tag. Drove me nuts for years. Putting on makeup around it and everything. Little teeny tiny, couldn't even hardly see it, but it got in the way. And I decided this year that it was going to go, that I was going to prove to myself that this could happen. And guess what? It's gone. So I've had that sucker for 40 some years and it's gone. So tell me that we can't intend and change things. I just changed something forever. This is on me, on my body. That thing had been there for 40 years, over 40 years on my eye. And I said to myself, if I can get that thing to disappear, then I'll know I'm really, I'm really in the zone. I'm really getting with this manifesting thing. Well, guess what? It did happen. So, can we change it all? Sure, we can. I have 100% faith in that. It's just what mother and father told me, cosmic mother and father. They told me a long time ago that we'd have the power to fix everything. We'd have the power to restore everything. We'd have the power to change everything. And that lets me know that I'm going to be able to change myself to be healthy. I am going to do it. If I can get rid of something that I've had for 40 years, I can. Of course, it was just a skin tag, something minor. But why couldn't that transpose to other things? Why couldn't that happen with other things? So now I know I can do this. I can rebuild myself, and I'm going to do it. And stuff that's going on in the world, it doesn't have to go on in my world. There's my version of the world, and then there's other people's versions of the world. And your version and my version are not the same, although they look a lot alike. But in your world, you can decide that things are going to go differently than they're going to go for everybody else. And they will. I helped somebody out. She was very afraid for her job back during the COVID days. She takes care of people. She was afraid they were going to make her get the injection. And you know what? I said, I'm going to intend this on your behalf and actually for everybody's behalf. That somehow, some way, you don't end up having to get it. Even though it's the rules, they're saying it's the rules, that somehow, some way, you don't end up having to get it. Guess what? She ended up not having to get it. You know what? I did the same thing for another friend. She said, oh, I got to go to XYZ, but I got to get a passport and then I got to do this and I got to get I got to get a shot in order to do this and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, I'm going to fix it for you so you don't have to get that. So you don't have to get it. You know what? She didn't have to get it. She got by somehow without it in a kind of a miraculous way. I've done this more than once. Do you have to put up with what's going on in the rest of the world? No, you don't. You really don't. Now, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of responsibility to take responsibility for everything that happens in your life and then keeping track of it all. So I'm not too hard on myself, but I try not to be hard on myself, but sometimes I still am. Why didn't you handle this? Why didn't you handle that? Well, it's hard to think of everything right on your own behalf. I mean, but I am going to do it. I have gradually made things much better for myself. I'm going to continue to do that. This month, you remember I said I was intending that, I was going to make it through the month somehow? Well, I did. I did because certain things happened and it was really unusual things. I'm not going to go into the details, but I made it through another month now. And that's how I know I don't have to be afraid what next year is going to bring, whatever next year is going to bring. I'm intending that for me, it's going to be good. For me, I have a bright future. And you know what? If you use your power of intention, you can do that too. After all, I'm sitting in a really nice place, in a really comfortable home. This place is pretty comfy. It's a far cry from where I used to live. The other place was poisonous. It was killing me. And I am gradually getting well since I got here. You can do that, Chloe. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, child. You can intend your way into a much better situation. And I really wish you would. I really wish you would, honey. Don't give up hope that it can happen. You got to put your mind to it. Just like you put your mind to making some money, you got to put your mind to it that you're going to have a beautiful place to live. Because I imagined this place long before I got here. So just think about what you want, what you need, and start feeding that dream and start knowing that it's going to come to you. Hello, Black Dragon. Semper Fi. It took me more than a year. It may take a while. It took me a few years to get out of there. It was like glue. It was like I was stuck there like glue. It was horrible. I needed a friend to help me get out of there. You really, really got to put your mind, you got to have it to where it's like an all consuming thing. You're going to have a nice place to live. Uh, he will die on the hill of bacon. Black Dragon defending his bacon. I'm sorry, I had my eyes closed when you came in. Well, I'm back. That was rough. I don't know what the heck was going on.